Nah, it's already live. It's good. It's good. Just allow people to still join in. Definitely want to turn that down.
All right.
All right. So let me just kind of introduce what's going on. So I'm Brody from Boston. This is Kevin Quigley, also a local comedian, kind of stand-up comic, right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Get all those
I
yucks
just
out there.
I just want to get the right lingo. So stand up. That's what your hobby is basically. It's not your profession. It's like your hobby and you're going for it.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's tough out there.
What are you doing right now? What are you doing for work right now?
Well, I am a unemployed software engineer.
Yeah.
But it's interesting enough, but I would prefer to figure out a way to make comedy a full-time job. If that means writing, if that means doing like small acting parts, if it somehow by some miracle I'm able to just do stand-up and have it be a career. Very competitive out there, so it's pretty nerve-wracking. The idea that you could actually get it to take off,
Absolutely, man.
Everyone out
You
there
can.
is so funny.
Yeah.
They're all sad and miserable, so it almost makes you wonder if it's worth it.
Absolutely. I can kind of compare, this stand-up gig to fucking, creating on YouTube. It's the same shit. Everybody's so creative. Everybody's so fucking funny and they got their niche and they're all phenomenal at the fucking shit. And they got years of experience. Like, it's tough to do all by yourself. And some of the videos you put on Twitter, and I don't know, is that like the only spot you post to is Twitter? No, right? You got YouTube.
Yeah, I've done stuff on YouTube, but then it's just like nobody sees them. And it's like, I would rather, it seems that even if I post something on YouTube and then share the link on like Facebook or whatever, just on my personal Facebook, it always feels like I get more likes if it's just a direct upload than if it is a link to YouTube. And I don't know. I feel like once I have a following, I was a rule of thumb that I read early on was that you're supposed to pick one platform and have that be like your focus. So I've decided Twitter will be my focus since Twitter is the least encumbered, I think, of social media platforms. There's basically no content restrictions, whereas everything else like Instagram is there's almost like two different categories where there's Instagram, they'll ban you for like having nudity because they think that they're somehow morally superior to that, which they're not. They're a horrible place. They're responsible for the downfall of society, but apparently like tits would just somehow. It's kind of like the way that you have like these evangelical Christian types who are all like I'm with the Lord and stuff, but like they're like they have like a sex dungeon. They got someone dripping candle wax on them in the basement that they pay their daughter's college fund, and she has to go to Oklahoma State University because they don't have anything like that. But Twitter will basically just show you whatever, and it's like a meritocracy. Like you can have like no followers and still go viral, whereas you need to like already have a bunch of followers. It just makes more sense for comedy. But being in like quarantine where I'm not doing any stand-up, and I'm just like, so I've started following like way more like New York and LA and just all over the country comics. That's like nerve-wracking because these people are spitting out like at least 5 good jokes a day, all fresh.
Yeah.
And then I have other friends that during quarantine, like this one guy, Zach Brazow, he's a native of I think Situate. He was one of the funniest comics in Boston when I was starting up. He's around the same age as I am, and he was posting one video per day for over a month. And they weren't all like through the park, but some of them were really funny. And he was managing to take the time to just do one every day. And I'm like, oh fuck, I can't even think of one every like couple of weeks. That momentum, I think once you just get the momentum and you ride it, it's probably a little bit easier.
Yeah. I always thought of like stand up. I was so interested about it. Okay. But I'm always like, what's the best way to create a joke? What's the secret sauce and how do they do it? There's got to be like a format. There's got to be like a fucking layout that they're using to just create this shit left and right. but it really is over time. You get better at it and better at it. And so this dude cranking out freaking videos once a day, which is insane. They're probably videos like 15-second to maybe 30-second videos, if that.
I think they're like 1 to 2 minutes. They're all
That's
IGTV.
impressive. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty freaking good then.
Yeah. And when you first like sit down and you think like, I want to try comedy, I need to figure out how to fill 3 minutes of time.
Yeah.
You don't know what the fuck you're doing. You just like try to write down assorted thoughts, and sometimes people think of a story. I don't know. It's hard, and that's like I noticed. Like I wrote down a few premises that I kind of started to flesh out at the beginning of quarantine, the first couple of weeks, and I haven't like written much that would be stand up in a while, simply because I'm not going out every night and trying shit out and like always having it in the forefront of my mind. And stand up is written much different than like other forms of writing, where you'll write this very like proto rough draft version of something, and then in your performance you'll often add words in and tweak things and think of things on stage, stuff like that. Not everyone does it this way, but that I would say is pretty common.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of like what I do too. I always leave in extra details like for late. You know what I'm saying? I always change it up, during, you know what I'm saying? That's absolutely super smart and brilliant, because
so you're on your feet and you record everything generally. And then you end up having like something that start off as like 8 minutes of with only a few nuggets, and then you twiddle it down to like 5 really strong minutes. Or maybe sometimes I've had things that was just like a couple of jokes, like 2 or 3 jokes that ended up being, over time I was able to expand it into like a 5-minute thing. And without that like reinforcement, I guess it would be like positive reinforcement based a cycle, you can't write it as much. But I still don't have much excuse to not be working on like trying to write a sitcom pilot or whatever other kind of shit would advance my career. So
what made you fall in love with comedy? What was it? I know exactly what made me fall in love with it, dude.
Well, I was always the classic like middle school, and we went to high school together. I didn't have as much time to do this in high school, but in like middle school, it'd be like you got home, and then Colbert or Jon Stewart was always wrapping up by the time you got home. You missed most of it, and then it would be a half hour of Colbert, and then it would just be like hours of stand up. And it was just like right when you were that age where you kind of aged out of like SpongeBob and shit like that. So like that was like my acquaintance to it, and I always was pretty interested. I got pretty deep into Mitch Hedberg when I was in middle school, just because I would watch all these hour specials or half hour specials, and all of a sudden I saw Mitch Hedberg, and I was completely blown away, because I didn't even think, I was like, is he even allowed to be doing comedy this way? This is so different. Yeah. It's like he's not following the formula at all. It didn't resonate. Like it completely blew my 14-year-old mind. Technically, I tried it for the first time when I was 19 as a freshman at Wentworth in Boston. I just had all these, people in my suite that I lived with. They were like, "You're funny, man. You should try comedy." And it was weird because growing up, I was not like the funny guy. I was in my immediate group of friends. I was probably like 3rd or 4th. And then if we were hanging out with like a large group of friends, like if we were all having like a party, I wouldn't even be like in the top 10. Considering, and this is not me talking down to myself. This is
trying to be honest. Yeah.
So like I never thought, but then like I guess in college, new crop of people, and they thought I had a sense of humor versus the people who were kind of used to me at that point. So I tried it once. I enjoyed it. It was at like this school open mic thing, but it was not a comedy open mic. It was just like all things. So I was the only person doing comedy. Yeah. And then I kind of just slept on it for a while. And then, there's a lot of people start doing comedy when they're 23, I found, because that is the age, and that's when I started, because that is the age where you've graduated college, you've gotten a job, you've started to go down the road of having a career. And then eventually you've realized that that is not enough to satisfy you, like, and make you feel fulfilled. So you have to try something else. So I think that's probably just an age that a lot of people pick up major hobbies in general. But I had a therapist, and people don't believe this. Other comics, I tell other comics this, and they're like, "This is nuts." But I had a therapist, and I was telling him about like something I wanted to try, and he was kind of like an alternative, almost like homeopathic guy, and he was like, "Kevin, you gotta get in your passions, man. You're not happy because you're passionless. You gotta get your passions, man, and you're funny." Way. So that ended up being like he was the only person that was taking patients I could find. He was this guy in Roxbury whose primary focus was connecting like estranged fathers with their sons. But
Oh
then
my
he's like,
gosh.
he took some like sad white kid as a challenge, I guess. But no, it was good advice. I would ultimately say, like, I wasn't really doing anything with my life. Who the fuck's calling me? Shut up, Patty. My friend wants to light fireworks.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have some from a few weeks ago. So yeah, anyways, then I went about it. I went to Sally O'Brien's, Somerville, shout out.
No.
Sally O'Brien's.
You're talking about the therapist, right?
The therapist said that, yeah, and he said I should go out and do it. And so my cousin had been, he's a musician, and he'd been wanting to do it for a while. He just kind of like, you know, a lot of people have that passive, like, I'd like to try an open mic. Yeah, I always hear people say, oh, I've always wanted to try con, and then you tell them where the open mics are, and then like you're never going to see them.
Exactly. Yeah.
But people will. It's a little bit disrespectful, like, because when you tell someone that you spend like, you know, half of your free time or more doing something, and then they're like, I've always wanted to try that, and then, you know, it's almost like they say it with this presumption that it would be easier, that they assume they'd be good at it. But whatever, you know, that's besides the point. So my cousin and I, we went to Sally O'Brien's, and I made it through a set. I didn't record it, which I kind of regret. It would have been nice if I recorded it. It definitely wasn't a complete failure, but also like there's absolutely no way I was killing. And my cousin said that he had like a panic attack on stage and never wanted to do it again. So I was back the next week, and then before you knew it, I was doing like 2 or 3 a week, and now I basically do it like at least I would get on stage at least 3 times a week for the next about 3 years. I mean, I don't even know how we're supposed to count how long you've been doing it for with the Corona age, but
that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's whatever the rules are. People will know. It's like a moratorium on everything in 2020.
Yeah.
There's gonna be. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, you just, for instance, like say you're a sports fan, you might be like on a sports page on Wikipedia, and like every sports page is just gonna have like go like 2019, 2021 when they're like listing stats. There's gonna be like so many different things when you like look at year by year like stats where like 2020 is just not referenced because all that shit got canceled.
It's just gonna have a fucking blank mark like the year.
Yeah, it'll be like,
wanted to
say you're reading like who's the MVP of the NBA. It was just it's just gonna go from 20, and then like there's gonna be so many other like NASCAR, or I don't know what the fuck. The NASCAR, no, they didn't cancel. Did they? They did something with the Confederate flag. I don't remember. I know there was controversy concerning NASCAR. It wasn't something. People on the internet who know nothing about something are so quick to be like, I'm gonna give my take. I'm like, I don't know anything about NASCAR.
Yeah, it's so.
I just now have the protozoic information in my head that's like, you know, maybe NASCAR, maybe they, you know, ran over a gay baby in the street. I don't know what they did. They did something bad.
Yeah, they did. All right, now I got a good question for you, dude. Who was your high school
smoking meth
history teacher that was your favorite teacher?
Of the history teachers, who is my favorite? Probably have to say Brother Hoey.
Really? I thought you were gonna say Mr. Mazzei.
I didn't have him.
Oh, you didn't have Mr. Mazzei. I thought that would have been like a definite, dude. He was so freaking funny. Every single time
he didn't teach any honors classes. I don't mean to flex, but Mr.
Okay. So yes, I was the dude with like the freshman, and then I mean I was like the junior senior dude, and I had like the freshman. I'd be like, listen, you little twerp, I need to cheat off you so I can pass because my baseball coach is about to fucking kick me off the team, dude. And that's like what I would have to do. Like it was just rough. But Mr. Mazzei, he was such a chill teacher that every single time he asked me a question, I would just say, Eisenhower. That would just be my direct answer every single time, even if the answer wasn't even Eisenhower. And he knew, like,
the same country.
Yeah. No. So he was like, dude, I know when to call on Brody when the answer is. So he was just such a chill teacher whenever he just called.
So you arranged with him that he would call on you whenever Eisenhower was the correct answer. So that way you could look like you were always getting it right.
Yeah, he was such a cool fucking
I remember him because he gave us like a speech and stuff in high school. He was a funny guy, but I never really interacted with him much just because he didn't teach any honors classes. I had Brother Hoey for 2 years in a row, which sucked.
Yeah.
To be honest, I liked him, but it was almost like you need a break.
Oh shit.
And because he was. I didn't mind having certain teachers 2 years in a row, but he was just tough. You didn't like MC was. They just shoveled so much shit on you, and then they still asked me for money, and it's like I'm not giving you money.
That was so expensive.
I would have been fine if I went to a public school. I'm not giving you money to support this fascist thing.
And like the one thing that I really hated too was the principal there. Like, I don't want to bring his name up, but just the way he intimidated everybody in the
Oh no,
hallways.
he was the assistant principal, but I know who you're talking about.
Yes, him.
Yeah.
Just the way he would like look at me, like I would get nervous, bro. Like, this dude wants to fucking hurt me or something, dude. Like, this dude was such a he's such a narc. And
I noticed though his attitude literally like just he wanted to scare freshmen. Yeah, I think he must have just been like a fucking high school bully who didn't, because he really cared about scaring Fred. But then once you were a senior, he was his attitude was barely recognized. Like he had a sense of humor when you were like a senior, but when you were a freshman, he had no sense of humor.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Were you there during when somebody took a shit in the hallway?
Yeah, I was. And I don't know who it was. I know there was a lot of theories as to who it was.
Yes,
it was legendary though, because this guy, this guy, possible pedophile, Brother Petite. He was like the most. I never had him, thankfully, and that was great because I hated theology so much. Like for the listeners at Catholic school, we were required to take a theology class, and I was always very openly disrespectful during theology class because I didn't respect it as a genuine subject. But he was the only one who taught it like he was a real teacher. I would, because everything else was a joke. I could just yell shit out in class. I wouldn't get in trouble. But I would have gotten in so much fucking trouble if I had him as a teacher, because he would give like real homework and shit too. Like you'd actually have to, like Bill Duff, this guy Bill Duff, one of the smartest guys I know, Carnegie Mellon. He works on Wall Street now, and he makes $1 bajillion. I'm not gonna blow up his salary, but he makes a lot of money.
I believe it.
He failed Brother Petite's class. He failed that dude's class because he gave him a big assignment his senior year, and he was just like, "Oh, and like this is not a real subject. I'm not doing this." So he failed the class just because he didn't do this huge assignment. And he's probably more successful than I would say of the people who were at MC when we were there. He's probably like in the top 5 most successful if you're just going by like finances. But then they shit in a bag and left it outside of his door, and no one ever shot. That's great. Because it probably still bothers him to this day that they never figured out who it was. That's why it was a good prank.
Yeah, it was a good fucking prank, dude. Yeah, and then another teacher there, Mr. McDowall. He was such a funny man.
We had one of those ones that you hated him when you first started his class, and then over time you realized he wasn't that bad. Because he would try to be a hardo on the first day of school, and then he would kind of let it go over time.
Yeah, dude. What a funny ass high school, dude. It was
one of those, if I'm not mistaken, he was one of those like Catholic school, clearly a closeted homosexual, but would never be able to come to terms with it. And he's way too old now.
Possibly.
Not that there's anything wrong. I mean, there are some things wrong with that, from a psychological perspective, but like, he was a good guy and I like it.
Okay. Now, have you heard the news about that high school? What's currently going on as of right now?
At our high school,
not our high school, but our old fucking high school. That's pretty lame.
I know that they have girls now, but they're like this weird thing where they're not allowed to talk to each other or look at each other. I used to hook up with this girl. Don't mean to blow her up. Hopefully she's not listening. But she was
make sure you tell her age.
She worked for the firm.
Yeah,
she worked for the firm that did the redesign of Mullen Catholic for when they brought in girls.
Okay.
And they had to make it in a way where like they can't see each other in passing or like at all. Because they think like, I guess, science shows, and this science was founded by, the Vatican. It shows that if a young boy sees a woman at any time, he will rape her immediately. So unfortunately, they had to structure the school in such a way.
Yeah.
As you know, public schools where they have co-ed classrooms, there's just like 17 violent assaults, in chemistry under the bleachers every day. So per minute.
Yeah. And we're being 100% serious when we say this stuff. This is just the way comedy is. And obviously we're joking when we say this shit. But another thing is, who inspired you to who's your favorite comedian? I don't want to hear somebody way old. Like I know comedy. I typically don't know old comics and like the history behind it. But like right now, who's like your favorite?
I always have a few different answers to that. Like my main favorite would be Mitch Hedberg, just because I think he was someone that inspired me and probably inspired an awful lot of people to get into comedy and just be interested in comedy in general. Not even
is that because was he the Massachusetts local, right?
No, he was. I think he was from
Or
like Florida.
oh, okay.
He had a very one-liner style that was very iconic. Look him up. I'll send you some stuff later. Currently, though, my favorites currently are Tim Dillon, Joe List, and Mark Normand. And I really like Sam Morrill as well. They're just people. Mark and Sam both have specials that they just released to YouTube because all of a sudden the industry is just giving no love to these people. I mean, there's a lot of like turmoil, I guess, in like the industry, and like I'm talking like I actually have any influence and know what I'm talking about. But from what I understand, people are getting tired of who the networks, you know, be it HBO, Netflix, whatever. People are getting tired of who they're trying to like push up. So comics have discovered, and Andrew Scholes was probably the first person to do this really successfully. They've discovered that you could just upload all your content to YouTube and monetize it, and then you don't need to deal with networks at all.
Yeah.
So that's what both Mark Normand and Sam Morrill both put hour specials on YouTube, and they've been wildly successful. And you know, they no regrets.
Yeah. One of my favorite comics ever is Joey Diaz, and I don't know if you're. Joey Diaz, just because he's got a similar drug history compared to me. Just the way he's so blunt with his words. He'll tell you to go fuck himself. To go fuck yourself. He's just the way comedy is, in my opinion. You know, he smokes a bunch of tree. The dude's badass, and I just love the way he is because he's just so fucking funny, and all the stories that he's saying, you're like, holy shit.
And he was in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
you want to go through him, you gotta go through me.
Yeah. Okay, I got another person, another comedian that is pretty funny. His name is fuck. What's his name? Alex Jones.
Oh, Alex Jones.
Yeah, that's a good comedian, right?
Joey Diaz. If you like Joey Diaz and Alex Jones, you would absolutely love Tim Dillon.
Okay.
Tim Dillon is like Tim Jones is like if Alex Jones took all of that energy but channeled it into doing stand-up comedy instead of whatever the fuck he actually does. He's like very, very based in conspiracy theory, and he's just, you can tell that he said, I've listened to his podcast, a very religious fan of Tim Dillon, and he said that he'd listened to Alex Jones when he was like 12 years old. Yeah. So you could tell that kind of energy had a huge influence on him, like in his formidable years.
I gotta check him out then.
Like he had this thing the other day he was doing where this was close to the beginning of quarantine, where people were saying like the CEO of Disney is not taking a salary. He's like, he's walking around with a hood and poking people with a hot iron stick. The CEO of Disney is not taking a salary. That place is run by slaves. Like he just high energy. And I like him because he's one of those people who can just go on. He doesn't necessarily need to have all of his shit prepared. So he's definitely someone to look out for. Strongly recommend. He's got a little thing on Netflix, but it's not as good as some of the stuff you can find on YouTube.
Yeah. Just like fucking Marilyn Monroe's fucking breast milk, and then I had the baby in the elites, the blood, the elite. The elites, the fucking
the elite are all about some of them are good, some of them are bad. They're killing children. Get to that.
Yeah, I mean, for
like he's like completely off the rails and insane, doesn't know what he's doing, but it's like, I don't know, man, you're still making him go viral every now and then when he says he eats his neighbor's ass. I think Alex Jones is very in tune with his reach.
I think he's extremely fucking smart. Too smart for his own damn good. That's my opinion.
He probably is genuinely insane also. But,
he's gotta be, dude. I mean, just the shit, dude. Like taking baby fetuses' blood and injecting.
What about the fish people?
Yes.
He talks about fish people several.
Oh yes. The fish people,
CIA or building
baby humanoids.
Then he starts crying and he's like, I don't talk about this because it's just so fantastical. I love that guy.
Yeah. It's absolutely awesome.
He had a few months ago, he had Tim Dillon like in his studio on his show, and they did like a segment together.
Oh wow!
Which was a
That's
great
probably
crossover.
A banger. It's probably
on YouTube. Yeah.
So, are you big into conspiracy theories? Because I'm gonna tell you something right now, dude. Honest to God, there was a point in my life where I thought the Earth was flat, and I ain't fucking around. I'm being dead serious. And when I ask you about conspiracy theories, this is how I want you to answer them in this type of format. Percentages, okay? This is how. Okay, now when you think of the Earth being flat, you know, is it 100% it's flat, or is it 100% it's not flat, or is it?
I'm gonna go with 100% not flat. The Earth.
Okay, I agree.
I'm
But
gonna go ahead and say that
I
it's
can't
actually
say.
spherical, and that most of the things that we learned in like elementary level science are probably true.
But come on, I have an idea that the aliens came down, raped a couple monkeys, and now we got some big motherfucking humans walking around. Okay, that's
I mean,
how
that
we
probably
evolved.
that I'm not opposed to.
Because
But I
where
think
did
it's
the heads,
definitely
where did the brain, where did all this evolution come? Okay, and then another thing that I'm fucking freaking out about, dude. I'm about to lose it right now because all of this fucking technology, okay, since it's just it's updating, it's evolving too fucking fast, and here we are, like thousands and billions and trillions of years, we were fucking monkeys and fucking bacteria and whatever, and this technology has came from internet, and now it's got iPhones and shit. When is it going to take over the planet? It's at a point where 100 200 years from now, it's going to be so damn smart that it's going to say, fuck you humans, you made us too fucking smart.
Who said I forget who it was, but someone said humans are the sex organs of the machine world.
Possibly, yeah. I heard that before, actually. Yes.
Meaning that our you know, from their perspective, we exist only to proliferate them, and you know they're kind of at the bacteria stage right now. They're nowhere near their like, you know, Homo erectus stage.
Yeah.
Here's
Homo
the thing.
sapien
Someone pointed out to me
sapien.
once,
I
and this
hear
kind of
you.
blew my mind. This stuck with me when I first started. So I have like a phone case like this, see,
Mhm.
and it has like the slit on the end.
Yeah.
And because I happen to be left-handed and not right-handed, I generally hold my phone like this, whereas like a right-handed person would generally hold it like this. So my left hand, it's always over this other slit. And over time, from holding my phone, I got like a callus on my pinky that almost locks into that nook. So I was explaining this to someone once, and they pointed out that over time, my body was becoming interfaced with a machine. Just like, it's abstract when you think about it, but it's almost like now in some way my body has to change to accommodate using a machine that I'm fairly addicted to. So it's like,
wow,
this idea that we're like, you know, and everyone always says like the chips in the head, and that's gonna happen eventually. Like that's very far away. To say the science fiction is over exaggerating, but it's like it's already happening. Like we are integrating, and now you think about like people wear watches, but it's not just a watch that you wear. It's interfaced with you in the way that it keeps track of your heartbeat and other biometrics.
100%, bro. 100%. And just how close it is to, you know, these arteries and shit, that it can't be, you know, that positive, like sitting in front of video game screens or computer screens late hours of the night cannot be positive, especially when how about this? Ready? You got children nowadays. Imagine having a baby right now. So that means that the baby is going to be, his whole life, he's going to know that an iPhone was there, and the iPhone was there when the baby was so little. So it's going to be so fucking like see me, I got the iPhone when like I was at least 10, 15 years old, you know, but these little kids.
I didn't get one until I was like 17, and
that's
I
what I'm
was a shitty
saying.
Android, but I didn't get like, you know, conceptually a smartphone.
That's what I'm saying, that these kids are too fucked right now. There's just way too much. And then, God forbid, an immature little kid says something negative on social media. It's going to reflect on his whole entire life. That's just terrible, you know, because kids are immature at that age, and you're giving them such a powerful device that people are using to fucking build cars and build fucking and make meth at their fucking house. You know what I mean? You could learn anything.
There's people running entire, like, there was this one guy who ran an entire criminal empire just from his laptop, just by like, just all through the internet, just bought buildings, hired people, and then ultimately like shit started to go down. So he like had people assassinated and all this shit. And he never met or interacted with any of the people that he was doing. I wish I could remember the story, but it was also like the Silk Road shit like that. So there's a lot of shit going on that's just kind of impersonal. But on the subject of like what do people I think about this a lot, like where we're going to go as a society in terms of like canceling people for like content that doesn't hold up. because you're going to get to the point where people are basically tweeting shortly after they learn how to read and write. If you're not already there.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get to the point where like every single person who could possibly run for any sort of public office or anything like that, or just be in a public position, has probably said something cringy.
Yeah.
It'll probably just end up regressing to the way it used to be, where like sometimes people got mad about shit, but they let it go.
You know what? If I could say something real quick, so I talk about an MTV show called The Challenge, and I basically watch the episode and I just give my thoughts on what the hell I thought. And so there's a character, her name's Dee, and she's from Australia, and you know what I'm saying? She's foreign, whatever. But she said something on her social media, and this is what she said. And MTV has, completely kicked her off the show. They cut ties with her. They said severed ties with Dee. And this is exactly what she said. She says, I've been saying listen, and this is stuff that I've read online, so I ain't spreading nothing. This is facts, okay? She said, I've been saying Black Lives Matter since the day I lost my virginity. She was just trying to be funny, okay? And yes, you put a smile on your face right away. Yes, okay. And I
just love the jokes that are about white women getting railed.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
It's
exactly.
Hilarious. It's a hilarious subject matter. It's just like making fun of Italians. It will always be funny, even though it's tasteless.
Yeah. But where MTV seen the whole entire the negative part was that there's no joke to this. These people are fighting for their lives. And that's the reason why they had to make such a freaking gnarly move and cut ties with her. But still, like she's not the only one who has said something along these lines on that show. The show's been going on for 35 seasons. And believe me, there is much worse said than she was just trying to be funny. Okay. But
yeah, no, I mean, I doubt she, but I would definitely not say she meant it from a place of hate.
Yeah, exactly.
It may have been, it probably should have dawned on her that this is like this is a more sensitive subject than I think she thought it was. But there's definitely a certain degree of like sacrificial lamb status to that too, where MTV's like, we got to just fucking fire her to show that as a company, we're on the right side. Like,
100%.
It's like that's the same thing happened with Shane Gillis. If you remember that story from, you know Shane Gillis?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was almost like, yeah, I doubt he's really racist. Like I know people who know him personally, and they say he's a nice guy. And he's engaged with me on Twitter a couple times too.
Oh, really? Holy shit! I can see that.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of comics are pretty good about like people who they are fans. They will engage with him. But it's like once that shit came out, people were saying he shouldn't get fired. I was like, he's gonna get fired. It's just as a company, there's just no way. Yeah. Everyone's upset already. Their hands are tied. They have no choice. They're gonna fire him.
And that's like the sad part. It is
what it is. But like, don't. It's almost like I don't know. Don't poke a beehive. Whatever. Like, yeah, I think he's a good comic. I think he's a funny guy. But and I would prefer it if he got good opportunities. I think he's whatever. But Saturday Night Live, their hands are tied. They he got outed saying stuff that people were very upset by, and at the end of the day, they are gonna fall because they're a giant corporation and they don't really, they just don't want to be bothered by it.
Yeah, they just rather fucking wash their hands with it altogether. I completely understand. They gotta cover their asses. It's just
there would just been if they didn't fire him, there would just be petitions and outrage all throughout the entire season, and they're just like, let's just stop it. Let's just fire him, and then people will stop yelling at us, and they'll applaud them for doing the right thing.
Hey, yo, do you got any new gigs coming up? Like anything local?
I haven't really been asked to be on anything that's reopening, and nor have I done much research. I've not done much research into what is actually reopening. Like my fucking ear is so not on the pulse.
Yeah. No,
literally, the first time I hear about an open mic being like running regularly, though, I'll probably just like, even if it's in fucking like New Hampshire or Rhode Island, I'll probably just rent a car and go. Because like, as soon as something like actually getting on stage and performing presents itself as a realistic prospect, I will be like, all right, it's happening.
Yeah. One second, real quick. I just want to answer some of the comments. So my buddy Zykes, he stopped by. He said, "Hey, thank you for stopping by, Zykes. I appreciate it." Cam 101, Cam, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Also, she's one of my best friends. And then Simply Shakendra, I did actually a podcast with her. So if you guys haven't seen that, please go check it out. It was absolutely awesome. Slicksy, oh crap, from Twitch, one of my homies that I be playing Warzone and Fortnite with. What's up, brother? And Kevin obviously is here. Say what's up to them, Kev.
Sup?
Sick. Perfect. You know what I wrote down here? I have something that I wrote. It's like just a little joke that I thought of today. And I was like, okay. Because I used to smoke a lot of cigarettes and I used to fucking smoke a lot of weed and whatever. But so I used to think being healthy back then was using hemp wick. That's the dead honest truth.
I remember that.
I was such an idiot. I used to be like they'd be like, dude, you're gonna get cancer. I'm like, motherfucker, I got hemp wick right here. Just 30 feet of it. Okay. And that's what I'm saying. How can you tell me I ain't gonna be healthy when I'm using organic beeswax to light my cigarettes? You know, fuck the butane lighter, right? That's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm trying to fucking say.
You got something there, you know. That was definitely it's kind of a niche humor because there's only a subset of people who are around a certain time period and lived a certain type of lifestyle will have any idea what you're talking about. But you know, I think this guy, I knew what you're talking. It brought me back to like when I was a kid and we were sitting around the playground and like one of my friends was like, "Yo, can't be lighting that with no butane. You know what that does to your body?" And then my friend was like, 97% of the THC is burned up when you light a butane lighter. That's why you got to use hemp wick. I was like, okay.
That's hilarious, dude. That's fucking
40 times higher from using the hemp wick. Okay.
Yo, have you ever ate a bag of dicks on stage? Like to the point where you were like, if I had a button right now and if I hit the button, I could get off stage and none of this would even happen. Would you have hit it?
I mean, Ted, I don't think I've ever actually closed early. Maybe a little bit early.
Okay. No. That's 100%.
I definitely never like undercut like half the length of the set or anything like that. I would say probably the worst one I can remember. Like obviously there's just when you're starting out, you get on stage and just absolutely like the fact that some people manage to do comedy for like more than a year is perplexing. Like I don't know how I made it that far because of all the times I bombed in like the first year. But I had a gig in New Hampshire, Bristol, New Hampshire. Shout out Kathleen's Irish Pub. Pete Andrews runs it. Great guy. It was over the holidays, so I had been traveling and shit, and I hadn't get on stage in like almost 2 weeks, which is starting to get to like a lot, you know, not compared to quarantine. And I go up there, and I'm outside in this like the smoking area, and a guy is out there in the smoking area. So I say, "Hey, excuse me, do you have a cigarette?" And then he goes, "No, my father died of lung cancer. He was my best friend, and I held him in his arms, and I watched him die.
Oh my God!
You know what happens to you when you have lung cancer? You drown in your own blood."
Jesus.
And then he just walked inside. And then I was like, "Ah, shit, I gotta go on stage." So then I go in and I go on stage, and then I started with a few jokes, and they're like nodding along. And I'm like a weird mood, and you know, I'm rusty, and I just drove 2 hours.
Jesus, the guy threw you off, bro. He fucked you up.
He did throw me up. Well, then I tried to make a joke of the thing is I tried to open with making a quick joke about what had just happened, but it just ended up being way too fucking dark. I just repeated what he said and then killed the mood. And then I go through some jokes,
shit.
And for some reason, like I couldn't focus on like figuring out a set list. I remember, like I was like, because first of all, I got up there and for some reason I misremembered that I had been booked to do like 8 minutes, and then he says like, "All right, you're gonna do 15, right?" So I've done 15 before a couple of times, but like that's you know, to throw it at me as a curve, like, it wasn't really a curve. I mean, it was my fault. I didn't know. So then I'm like planning out my shit, and I like get a few minutes of like getting back on my side, and then I'm like, I have this routine about the four corners, the monuments in New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, and it's a log thing, and it's like something that's like near and dear to me, but I've never gotten it to work consistently.
Okay.
And it's like 5 minutes long of like one big thing. So it's a lot of time. And if it doesn't work, it's a lot of time to just be talking and not have it connect.
Yeah.
But so for some reason, when I was just I was already kind of eating a bag of dicks. Things just weren't connecting. I decided I'm going to pull out this whole ordeal in the four corners. It's a relatively clean bit. That's one thing that's got going for it, because it's just about grievances with like the premise of the bit is that like we shouldn't be acknowledging that as a monument in the U.S. because that's just the way that that's just the way the states are shaped. Like we don't need to fucking make a monument for everything now. That's kind of the point. But
yeah.
Just, I went on forever, and then I like wrapped it up with one thing. Somehow did 15 minutes, but I do remember that at a certain point the lights were just making me feel like I was drenched in sweat. Like I was just absolutely bullets. It was that thing with like your back, like it's like good thing this is on my back and nowhere else because like I could feel it but no one can see it. And I got off stage and just went back out because this was January in New Hampshire, and I just walk out and I just like stand out there and I just like cool down for a minute.
Yeah.
Feel my sweat starting to freeze.
Yeah.
And these aren't like city folk, you know. These are like middle of nowhere folks. So they're like all looking all folksy and shit, and it's an Irish bar. They may be a little bit more conservative, you know, and they're just staring at you like, is this guy gonna pull out a gun and shoot up there? Is this one of those school shooters I've been hearing about? Like,
yeah.
In the city. So we ride tractors and we have fat wives. Like that's all they care about.
Jesus, dude, comedy is rough. Like if you're trying to explain somebody through like not all of your bits are gonna be quick and to the point, you know. Some of them are gonna be long, and that means that you're gonna have to keep the audience, you know, at least paying attention to actually get the bit, you know. That's fucking hard. That's hard.
That Dave Chappelle is very commendable at that. You know, even when I watch, he did like this half-hour special. Where there's very little actual jokes in there. It's more just him giving a live commentary on current events, and he has a masterful ability to sort of just keep your attention unwavering, which is hard because like when say, you know, if you want to get really you know, risky with it and like daring, and you want to have jokes that have almost like 2 minutes of build up to one punchline or something like that, that can be hard to pull off because then you fucking lose them before the punchline, then you hit it. It's like people have already checked out. But if you have them like really at the palm of your hand, and then you get the that it's like, you know, dropping the atom bomb. It's just the whole room. You got them, and then they're like, "What? I didn't see that coming. He was all building up to it."
Yo, you know what? You know what I would love you to do, man? If you could do me one solid favor in this comedy world, because in a past life, I guarantee you, I would go for stand-up, or I would go for this. Like, this is something that I love. I truly do love stand-up. It's so badass and creative. But if you're familiar with the show Kill Tony, right?
I am familiar with Kill Tony.
Okay, if you're familiar with Kill Tony, I want you to get this motherfucker bad, bro. I want you to be like, I want you to so sarcastically, absolutely just roast fucking Tony Hinchcliffe if you are ever on that show.
Tony Hinchcliffe? Oh, if I'm ever on the show.
If you ever get on, I just want you to say, listen, audience, I don't even need you guys to be here. Tony, this is between me and you, dude, and just go at him and just try to literally outsmart him and roast him, and then you are going to be it, bro. That's what I would do.
I'm not very good at roasting is the problem, and he's like a professional. So
yeah, I know. But I think if you snap it on him like that, you snap it on him, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the other thing about Kill Tony is that even whenever they announce that it's happening, like I think when they did it in Boston, and it's like fucking 100. I don't know if they did it in Boston per se, but they did it somewhere in Massachusetts, and an awful lot of people want to get on that show.
Oh yeah,
and then you're out in like LA where they like do it regularly. It's like you know, very, very hard to get on.
And like 90% of the people suck. So like if you're even good,
I watched clips where I found like it was a clip of this guy who was just absolute trash, and Anthony Jeselnik was the guest host.
Yeah,
and they just teased this guy. And
he
kept saying, he's like, "Oh, I lost custody of my daughter," and then Jeselnik was like, "Why is your tone that of someone bragging?"
Yeah, dude. I mean, I would just absolutely rip this fool, dude. That's what I would go for. Just because no, I don't like him at all. I think he's like,
I don't think I have anything against him.
I fucking hate him, dude. I just hate him. I just do. There's just something about his voice and just the way he belittles people, bro. I just want him to get a taste of his own medicine because he's made it so far on belittling other people. So I want somebody to smash his face into the dirt with comic power.
Well, I'm sure many have tried. I'm not. I know he's like a bit persnickety.
He'd absolutely destroy me though. So Tony,
Of,
please don't ever try to come after me.
Yeah, I know. You might have to wage war on Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah. No, he fucked me up badly. I don't even want to mess with that dude. I'm sorry, Tony.
Yeah, Tony, don't come after me either. I'm sure we have more in common than we have different. We're both thin whites.
Yeah.
We both have glasses.
Yeah, exactly. What's your opinion on drugs?
On drugs?
Yeah. Should they be legalized?
Yeah, no, I think they should be legalized. I mean,
yeah, me too.
If I don't want to get too political to the current event. It's what people are saying, defund the police is kind of a misleading term. But like one thing that I think is like day one, like if you legalize all drugs, you're going to reduce the rate of police brutality significantly. Like that's because people will no longer be able to search you for drugs and do fucked up shit. Like, I saw this one thing in Florida where this cop was fucking searching people and then trying to point his body cam down and then throwing bags of meth in their trunk. And some of these people had never even touched drugs in their lives. So then they're like having freaks out that this guy was just taking their entire livelihood away. Like one guy lost custody of his daughter because he got a bogus meth charge. I actually started writing a dark comedy about it where these guys get revenge on a police who was planting drugs on a suspect. But
yeah, it sounds like a good movie fucking storyline.
A lot of steam. Maybe I'll bring it back now that it's like a relevant thing again.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just shit like that. Like, it's also just like you cut down these things that are like statistically just very racist. Like, it's why are black people always spending way more time in prison for the same amounts of weed or heroin, whatever drug you want to name. I don't say LSD, not too popular in the black community. That seems to be like a white/Asian drug.
Yeah, I fucked up on LSD one time and I ended up in the hospital. It sucked. Fuck the LSD.
You did?
Dude.
Oh,
yeah. Dude.
A few weeks ago I did shrooms and then I wasn't hungover the next day. And I've never done acid not been hungover. So that was actually pretty good. I was like, maybe shrooms don't ravage your body as much. I was like, maybe if I want to trip.
You know what's so unique about shrooms and why I love them so much? Like I don't do them every day, but I will do them maybe once or fucking twice a year. So fuck everybody who does.
You know? Once or twice a year, I think is like that's the psychedelics. Like that's how often you're supposed to do them.
Are you familiar with the science behind it? Like the mycelium, really. The psilocybin.
I know that shrooms only affects a portion of your brain, whereas LSD affects like basically every part of your brain, which is probably why the hangover is so much worse with LSD. I'm not sure. Correlation.
There's just something magical about shrooms. Like I was reading, the Mushroom Bible by Paul Stamets. It's an absolutely tremendous book, and it's just so amazingly informative. But so basically shrooms back in the day, and actually till this day right now, whenever they're in the forest or whatever and an animal would stumble upon and eat them, it would actually increase their eyesight. So when I was under the influence of a microdose of shrooms, my eyesight was dramatically better, which is insane. It's actually science proven fact that your eyesight actually steps it up a notch and all these colors become more brighter. But the moment you go over, then it starts working against you. But it's like a microdose is like perfect for that type of shit. But shrooms, another cool thing that stuck with me was an oil spill, like polluted like marshland or whatever. And if shrooms are planted there, they can 100% recover the ecosystem and basically filter out all of the negative shit. And then like shrooms are just magical, dude. I mean, they're unbelievable fucking species of fungi, okay? And they're easy to grow.
They're easily the next illegal drug to be legalized, I would say, because like LSD is like made in the lab, and people don't like that, and cocaine is like people die from that, and they're probably never going to legalize opiates.
I would say one. I know one that would put up a really good fight against mushrooms for being legalized, and it would be MDMA, and only for the reason of depression medication.
MDMA, I think, would be legalized for medicinal use. I
Yeah,
think
exactly,
shrooms will probably be legalized for recreational use.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, I know there's a big push. There's a big push for MDMA for like, you know, clinical medical use.
Yeah,
ketamine itself you can already get in certain situations.
Absolutely. Have you ever I remember the days when you could literally buy fucking what was it, the DMT right offline. I did that shit.
I never bought DMT, but I did use the Silk Road several times.
Yeah.
It went down when I was a sophomore in college, I remember, because I was at the UT Austin, and that's where like the guy who made it went. Yeah, I remember we ordered LSD, and it was the first time we ever tripped it. It was the hardest we ever did by far. You like really can't compare.
Yeah. Just for some reason that these journeys that I took absolutely expanded my mind a lot. Like it made me become an adult, which is crazy to say, and but it made me just be thankful for a lot of things that I would really take for granted, or just see a different part of, you know, the universe through, you know, a substance, which is amazing.
Maybe one of these days I'll be an adult.
Yeah. I want to be just like an adult.
Yeah, no, it's hard. I've definitely had some pretty like revelatory experiences, but I'm not sure anything ever really like stuck around very much. I don't know.
Sometimes I've had a lot of shit that stuck around for sure. I had a lot of shit, dude. Yeah, a lot of crazy.
I think I've had like good when doing it with another person. I've definitely, in some cases, had bonding experiences, which I think sort of like you know, intertwines your souls for life in a certain regard. I've definitely also had it's just all about vibes and setting, environment, and shit. Because you definitely also have those times. This happened in college a lot when like we first got to college, and it was just like, there's no parents and fucking LSD. You fucking get it. Like you know, a few months in, you just meet a guy who has a shitload of it, and then you end up doing it with like a bunch of people that you're like not really that you don't have that much in common with, and you just like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah,
weird. I remember like this one guy, like we were all tripping. He like it was when I was a freshman in college. He still wanted to like hit on girls and shit, and we were all just like, oh, this is exhausting. This guy's such a horn dog. It doesn't matter what drug we put in his body. He'll be on coke. He'll be high. He'll be drunk, and he's always just trying to ruin everything by like being a, you know, we're having like a boys' night, and he just and then there's other shit, you know, people. Sometimes I'm like tripping up trying to be like, dude, it's all like what's all in the universe. I'm saying some of that shit, and then whoever I'm talking to just doesn't fucking get it at all.
Yeah, dude.
Sometimes you're with that person that you vibe with when you're doing it, and you get a really good connection there. I think that's been more of a long-standing than I've done it by myself several times, and you know, I've never really had much revelations that stuck around too long.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I can feel you there, but it's just like the way that I don't know. It's just hard to explain, dude. It's so hard to explain to somebody who's never tried it, and we don't encourage anybody to try it ever. You know, drugs are not the answer for anything. Okay, we're just talking about our experiences as idiots. Okay, but another thing was I used to think everything was better when I was high. And it was just such a stupid, fucking ignorant fact, like ignorant made up lie. I don't know where I got it from. Like, try having hemorrhoids and being high.
Probably from Pineapple Express.
Yeah. Or try, you know, kidney stones, like, and high at the same time. It's too sensitive. It's not.
At a funeral and high.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
I don't think I've ever been for a funeral wake, but I definitely feel like that would trip me the fuck up.
Yeah.
It's like I've taken every now and then I'll take like one to several months off of all substances.
Good.
And you know, sometimes I'll just take drinking off for a while. But you can still find a lot of fulfillment in sobriety, which it's good to remind yourself of that sometimes. I think, like, I just get consistent runs and I do comedy. It's hard to be sober when there's none of the things that I do as like hobbies are still around.
Yeah.
During normal life, it's like, I can enjoy comedy. I can remember everything that's happening better. I'm less encumbered to go for runs on Saturday, shit like that. So it's good to take that time. And sometimes you just get high. You just get fucking paranoid. It sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I've always loved that feeling though. Like a lot of people say, "Oh, I can't smoke weed anymore because I get too paranoid." That's the feeling that I chase. I love it. I like when my heart goes too fast. I like when I have to stand up when I'm like laying down because I think I'm gonna die. That's my favorite feeling, which is probably not healthy. And I don't like encourage anybody to do that, but it's just the feeling that I love. I love that racy, like never knowing what's gonna. That's just what I loved, man.
It's not that big of a deal for me when I'm alone, and sometimes it'll make me like I'll get paranoid, but then I'll get paranoid about something that's like you haven't done your tax returns yet or something like that, and that'll just make me like snap to and like, or like you're paranoid because your room is a mess, and that means your life is a mess, and then I'll just like clean my room, like shit like that. Definitely happens a lot.
Yeah.
It's like it's fight, flight, or freeze though. It's kind of like sometimes you get to fight or flight, and then you fight, which in this case would mean like clean your room, but then sometimes you just like don't do shit. But I don't mind it. Like, I don't mind as much when I'm alone to get paranoid and then just like be alone with my thoughts and have to try to challenge myself and figure things out. But then when I'm with other people, it can become an issue because then it's like people are asking me if I'm okay, and I'm like, yeah, I just need a minute. But then I can tell that I'm making them uncomfortable. I feel guilty about that, but whatever.
I feel like you're fucking thinking about it too much sometimes. I'm the same way, dude. When you're stoned, you just start thinking way too much, dude. I don't know what's going on. When you get alone with your thoughts, like when you're with people, like let's say I was using marijuana and then, oh my God, now my boss is here. I would just fucking flip out. It's just the way it is. And I've tried it many a times trying to go to work high and whatever, it's just when you're under that fucking, the boss is there looking at you and you're looking back and your eyes are a little red and your eyes are red and you might smell a little bit. You're like, oh shit, he might smell it. He definitely smells it. And you just go a little too crazy. And people that are like that, it's not a good combination, the two.
My holiday party this year at work, I didn't want to drink, so I took an edible, and it was like 20 milligrams. And then I just like get in there, and then like it's starting to kick in, and like I'm just there, and I'm like, I was like, I don't like any of these people. I just remember thinking that, and then I just left.
Yeah, the
it was very uncomfortable for a while. I tried to be like, at first I was like, all right, you're just paranoid, like try to stay at the party, I'm sure you'll have a fun time. And then like at about an hour after that, I was like, you don't like any of these people, man. Get an Uber and go home.
All right, dude, we're about to wrap this up. Anything else you want to cover real quick?
Let's see.
Anything you got?
Apartheid. I'm just kidding. I don't know. No, I mean, you got my
no, we Twitter did great, dude. We did fucking amazing, dude.
Thing, and that was fun.
Yeah, we can set up some more shit, dude, because I just like your vibes are cool. You're really funny and you're extremely smart, dude. And it's just gonna be plenty of more podcasts to go. And I want you to let everybody know like where they can find you.
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter at Quigley Chew. It's like Big League Chew, like the gum from baseball.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't like baseball or gum, but it's Quigley Chew, Quig League Chew. And that's about my. Yeah, I got an Instagram, but there's nothing good on there, so you don't want to follow that.
All right, cool. All right, and if you guys, this is Brody from Boston. If you guys want to catch me on Twitch, it's Brody from Boston. I'm about to head there right after this and stream some video games and just have some fun there. But I appreciate you guys from stopping by. This is the Chill and Spill podcast with Kevin Quigley, and we had a blast tonight. And I look forward to catching you again, my man. Thanks for stopping by, bro.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.